Alrighty, this is continuing our world famous series, not for beginners only. This is our theory class for people who hate theory and don't know anything about it. And I'm only using the word. I have to say, I don't like the word theory. This is not theoretical. We're not talking about black holes. We're merely giving names to sounds. And I think people use the word theory. It intimidates a lot of people because they don't understand it, and I don't blame them. So, and we're going to talk about the major scale today. This is what you want to carry, the most important formula you will ever learn. First of all, let me say that everybody, myself included, every guitar player who ever lived started off playing guitar, playing that chord because the dots on the page said it was a G, or playing that chord because the dots said it was a D. And okay, they're doing that, but they don't really know what they're doing. If you look at a piano, if you know anything about the piano, even if you don't, you can see that there's a regular pattern. And if that note is C, which it is, but I mean if that's a C, then that's a D, that's E, F, G, A, B, C. Now if I play chord groups off this C, alright, you might not understand them, but you can see there's a pattern there. But if I do the same thing on guitar, nothing looks related to anything else. It's just all sort of arbitrary. And it sort of is. It isn't. It's all related like this. It's just much harder to see. Much harder to see. So what I want to do today is the most important formula you're going to learn is 2.5, 3.5. And that's all you have. All there is to it. Which is, in music, this is a whole step. C to D. We'll call that 1. This is a half step. C to C sharp. Now remember, every sharp key has two names. It can be flat. It's sharp if you're going up. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. If I'm coming down, it's E, E flat, D, D flat, C. So each sharp or flat key has two names for the one note. So this is considered a half step. And that would be 1 fret on the guitar. If I go from the 1st fret to the 2nd fret, that's a half step. 2nd fret to 3rd is a half. 2nd fret to 4th is a whole. There's a note in between, it's a whole step. Just like the keyboard. That's a whole step. So here's your formula. 2.5, 3.5, which is 2 whole steps, a half step, 3 whole steps, a half step. C to D is a whole step, that's 1. D to E is a whole step, that's 2. E to F is a half. F to G, G to A to B, that's 3 more whole steps. B to C is a half. That's a major scale. Now on guitar, you may or may not have noticed, wherever you guys are playing, you've noticed that E and F is only 1 fret apart because it's a half step. One of the natural half steps in music. E to F. The other one is B to C. B to C. So what you might want to do, just to get familiarized with it, is, for example, you can start anywhere and go anywhere. For right now, we're not going to worry about key signatures or anything like that. That would be another time. But say, for example, take E. E to F is a half. F to G is a whole. G to A is a whole. A to B is a whole. B to C is a half. To D is a whole. And then to E is a whole. Now, you're on the 12th fret. On a classical guitar, the 12th fret's right up next to the body. On your electric guitar, it's where the double dots are on the fingerboard. The 12th fret is the exact halfway point of the string, between here and the bridge, and here and the nut. And that's why it's exactly halfway, so it's exactly twice as high. So you should take all the strings and run them up the neck and say them to yourself, and know what they are. And if you come out on the 12th fret, or if you come out where you started from, then you've done it right. For example, the 5th string is A to B is a whole, B to C is a half, C to D, to E, to F, to G, and then to A. back there, back on the octave. The octave, meaning 8 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or in this case I was playing E to E. Okay? Okay? Put it on pause just for a second. You might want to back. Okay. Now, I just showed you about just figuring out what the notes were on the neck. E, F, G, A, and so forth. Now the next exercise you should do is, without getting into fingerings, don't worry about that, is figure out what the major scales are for all the open strings of the guitar, just so you get an idea. Remember, a major scale is that magic formula, 2.5 steps, 3.5 steps. In C, you can see it right on the keyboard. That's 1 step. C by itself is not a step. You have to go to D to make it a step. It's a whole step, no black key, a half, whole, no black key, a half. Now if I pick another note to start on, say A. If I start on A to B is a whole, B to C is only a half step, so I have to go to C sharp. But it'll sound like your familiar major scale. It'll sound like do, re, mi. Then a half step, a whole to the F sharp, a whole to G sharp, back to A. 2.5, 3.5. That's an A major scale. Those sharp notes give you the key signature. That's for another day. We'll talk about that later. But what you can do on the guitar, just to get a feel for it, is pick an open string, and instead of just going E, F, G, just the straight names of the white keys, so to speak, those we were just doing, is make a major scale, which will be E, a whole step, F sharp, G sharp, a whole step, a half, A, B, whole step, C sharp, a whole step, D sharp, a whole step. Once again, the last interval's a half step, come back out on E. That's that E, it's the octave, the 12th fret. There you go. And it should sound like a major scale. It's a very definite sound you should recognize. Let's try the 5th string, which is A, the same idea. A to B is the whole step. Now remember the keyboard, B to C is a half. So B to C sharp is another whole step. C sharp to D is a half. D sharp to E. D to E, sorry. F sharp, G sharp, A. Once again. Whole, half, whole, half. From D to E is a whole, E to F sharp is a whole, G is a half, A, B, C sharp, D. Whole, half, Don't worry about fingering, I'm just sliding my first finger up the neck. We'll start with G here. G to A, whole, to B, whole, to C, there's your natural half right in place, very conveniently. D, whole, E to F sharp is a whole, because E to F is a half, back to G. From B to C sharp, to D sharp, to E, to F sharp, to G sharp, to A sharp, to B. A lot of sharps in that key. And then once again we're back here on E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. So when you get used to playing, for example, an A scale, that's not really a practical fingering, that's more for just demonstration concept. And later we'll show you the fingerings that you use to play these same scales, which you can move all over the neck in different keys. But that's the idea. That's all there is to it. 1, 2.5, 3 whole steps and a half. That's it.